Welcome everyone to the public forum for the candidates for town council for the 2023 election. Would everybody please stand and flag for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time I would like to introduce our moderator, Joshua Tangeman, and you can take it from here.
All right, welcome everyone. We're excited to have this forum for our town.
The candidates, there's some volume. The candidates, I believe, have already been given the questions. We just want everyone to be respectful. We're going to randomly select people as we ask the questions. Renee here is our timekeeper, so if you go over, she'll give you a little warning and then stop if it's too excessive. So we just want to keep pace with, so everyone has equal opportunity to answer questions. We are going to have some time to give you some introductions to let everyone know who you are. And there'll also be some time at the end of the questions for some closing remarks. Any questions from anyone? All right, well, let's begin. I'm going to start with Josh. This is a 2-minute question, and it's also a 2-part question. With the impending Air Force project and increased wind turbine development, how do you feel our town should prepare for the influx of potential business and residents? And the second part, can you describe any efforts that the town has already exerted to prepare, and how would you build on those efforts?
So my thing on that would be nice to, going forward, because obviously the town of Cheyenne's not, or city of Cheyenne's not going to be able to support all the people that are coming in there, because they have the same issues that we're having with rental properties, houses in general. I know we've talked about the housing market, or the subdivision that they're talking about building over by the distillery for years, because I know we talked about that when we moved here 4 years ago. So it'd be nice if the community can get that going. It'd be nice to be able to have more restaurants in the town going forward, just to try to get everything going for the influx, because there's going to be influx of people because I know that the missile sites are out by Albin, they're in Nebraska, so we're going to have an influx of a lot of people coming into the town of Pine Bluffs in general. I mean, I'm a transplant out here, so I moved out here for the community. So that would be one of the things that I would see that I'm all for it, because it means more revenue to the town. It means the wind time. I mean, it opens up jobs, and maybe some of the kids that graduate from here will stay in this community instead of leaving and going to other communities. I grew up in a small community, and I left that community too because of no jobs. So I think with the job market in the influx, that's going to hopefully keep some of our young kids in this town, because honestly, what's the average age of our town? All of our young kids are leaving to go to other places to find jobs. So I'm all for the increase with wind turbine development and having the military actually moving out in our area for the job market. And then the second, can you describe efforts that the town, I know the big thing is I know that we have got some restaurants that are, opened up after COVID. We had Curry's, and then the bakery, and then Estella's. The big thing is we just need more restaurants in general.
Time.
Okay, Dennis, would you like me to repeat the question?
It's the same question.
Same question, yep.
I'm all for continuing the development of the North Wells area. What I do know is that the town already has 6th penny tax money to continue the development of the North Wells area. We have the infrastructure going in. There's money for the sewer projects, there's money for the water projects, there's money for electrical projects. So I think it's just a matter of time till we get it to where we can sell off parcels of land and develop that area. I think it's crucial that we do that. The town of Pine Bluffs, for as far back as I can remember, has had a housing shortage. When I moved up here in the late 80s to work for Rocky Mountain Snacks, there was nowhere to live in Pine Bluffs. I ended up living in Albin and commuting for a number of years. And then to get housing, I actually built a house in town, so I had somewhere to live. And I know Dave was in the same boat when he moved here. He was having to search pretty hard to find a place to live. And so we need housing. That's vitally important. And the thing that I don't know is how much of an influx we're going to have in the population. I've heard that Raytheon's probably going to set up Raytheon and the companies that are in charge of this missile project are
Northrop Grumman.
Yeah, Northrop Grumman, that they're going to set up huge man camps and they're going to try and maintain a lot of the housing in their camps.
Would you mind giving me the question again?
Not at all. With the impending Air Force project and increased wind turbine development, how do you feel our town should prepare for the influx of potential businesses and residents? And can you describe any efforts that the town has already exerted to prepare, and how would you build on those efforts?
Well, like Josh and Dennis have already pointed out, we have a housing shortage. That's probably job one. We need both long-term and short-term housing, you know, whether it be motel space, we need things for people to do, restaurants, places to shop. Thankfully, we've already started down that road. We have a north property that we will be starting to develop this fall. We already have a new motel. We have some new restaurants. We're already starting to prepare for a potential influx of new residents and potential businesses. Like Dennis mentioned, I think probably the focus of this will be in the Kimball area. That's where I understand that the man camp would be located. So we may not get feel the direct impact of the Sentinel project, but we'll have an indirect impact. And I think we're already starting to prepare for that because of the good work of the council and the administration. Second part was, I guess I answered the second part, so
Yeah,
that'd be my answer.
great. Dave, we'll go back to you. Can you just give a brief introduction of yourself and answer the question, why would you like to serve the community as an elected official?
So my name is Dave Kraus. I've been a resident of Pine Bluffs for over 30 years. Grew up in eastern Nebraska. Moved out here to do a summer internship at Rocky Mountain Snacks, the same place that Dennis worked. Ended up meeting my future wife, and we got married. Went back to eastern Nebraska to finish up my college degree, and then came back afterwards. Yeah, we have 2 kids that are raised. They both live in the area, and yeah, I work at High West Energy now, and I'm just glad to be a part of the community. As far as why I would like to serve, I've watched this council for the last couple of years. I think that they do a good job. I know I'm concerned because it's my home. I want to make sure that we maintain good representation on the council. And if I can help fill that role, that's what I'd like to do.
Great. Josh, brief introduction.
My name is Josh McGurran. I moved to Pine Bluffs a little over 4 years ago. Family's been in Laramie County for over 100 years. I have 3 kids, 3 daughters. My wife's family is actually from Albin, so it was one of the reasons why we moved out here. My in-laws live here in Pine as well. I work for Kingar Ford in Cheyenne. I've been the service manager at the Ford dealership for 7 years. And U.S. Army vet, spent 8 years in the military. And my degree is in business management. And I have a master's degree in business admin. I grew up in a small town, in Wheatland, and moved here for actually better education for my kids because we lived in Cheyenne. And why I want to be on the town council is because I want to give back to the community.
Great, thank you. Dennis?
My name's Dennis Michaud. I moved to Pine Bluffs in 1992. I raised my family here. I have 6 kids, one of which is still in high school here. I have most of my kids living here in town. My daughter Sherry lives in Cheyenne, so I'm pretty well entrenched in Pine Bluffs in this community. I have 11 grandkids that I would love to make a nice place to live for them as well as everyone else that lives here. I own a business here in town and I live here, so I have a vested interest in seeing the town do well. I saw some of the needs that the town had a number of years ago on the subject of needing a hotel. So I got on board with that. I'm one of the partners in the hotel. I have a successful business here in town that employs a number of people. And I'd like to see more growth. I'd like to see opportunities for young people in the community. And I guess that's why I'm interested in serving the town, is I'd really like to be instrumental in continuing to build a strong community with good schools, good churches, good, nice housing. And I think the housing is one of the things we really need to work on at this point.
Thank you. The next question will be a 1-minute question. We'll begin with you, Dennis. Budgets being what they are in our state, and considering how fund accounting works, what do you see as the town's top priorities, and where would you consider cutting down spending?
Okay, top priorities, again, back to something that's already in progress. We've got the development of the North Wells area, get housing going, get somewhere for people to live, something that's attractive to live in, make an attractive community so we have somewhere to live for the businesses that are here. As far as the budgets that the town has, I don't have enough knowledge of where money is being funneled at this point to talk intelligently about it, so it's hard to comment on that one.
Josh?
I agree with him on the Dennis on the housing. Big thing is, I mean, we definitely need more housing in the town of Pine Bluffs, or rental, some type of rental properties, maybe an apartment building, apartment complex, so we can, because we are already outgrowing. I mean, it took me 6 months to find a house when I was going to move out here. And again, I don't have enough knowledge of where our money is going at the moment to really speak intelligently about the funding, to be truthfully honest.
Dave?
I'll sound like a broken record. Obviously, I think housing is a top priority for the town. Also, continuing to improve our infrastructure, our streets, water, sewer, and electrical. And I know that we've made some great strides in improving those already, but we have some aging infrastructure that needs to continue to be maintained. As far as budget cuts, I too have not seen the budget personally, so I can't really comment specifically. I guess what I would say, if I had to answer that off the cuff, is probably I would recommend that we make cuts in several areas. a little bit, rather than all in one area, to try and minimize the impact in one category.
Great, thank you. The next question is just a simple yes or no. Josh, would you instruct the Pine Bluffs Police Department to overlook traffic violations?
Absolutely not.
Dennis?
No.
No.
Thank you. The next question is a 1-minute question. We'll begin with Josh again. Do you think our main street downtown is healthy and successful? If not, do you believe that we should change that, and what would you do to change it?
That's a yes and a no. I think the downtown, we've done a lot of, I mean, obviously right around here, there's a lot of nice things that the town has built. But do I think it's successful? Yes and no. That's a weird one, because you see all these businesses that keep going in next door to us, and they last for a year or two, and then they're gone. And another business goes in. I mean, I think we need to focus on keeping the businesses on the main street in downtown going. I mean, it's one of those things that it's like Cheyenne. You know, you look at Cheyenne, you get all these restaurants that pop up and then they're gone 6 months. And it seems like same thing is we get businesses that go in and then they're here for a little bit and they're gone. They're here for a little bit and then they're gone. So yes and no. I do think it's healthy.
Great. Dave?
Yes, I do think the downtown is healthy. Having said that, the caveat is you have to consider where we are now as opposed to where we were, say, 20, 25 years ago. We're not gonna have the downtown we had 25 years ago. That's not realistic. Most all of us do some amount of our shopping online or in neighboring communities. Probably the emphasis of new startups or recent startups of businesses have been on Parsons Street next to the interstate. Having said that, I did drive around the community and around the downtown area recently, and I noticed there are more than 20 businesses in the area. I think we could do some things to improve and beautify this downtown area. Maybe put some focus on it, plant some trees, add flowers, maybe a few more park benches, bring a food truck in, spotlight the area and the businesses to let those businesses know we're here to support them. Okay, I guess that's it.
Dennis?
I think that the business locations are critical. It's like real estate. It's location, location, location. I don't think that you would do well to have certain kinds of businesses in the downtown sector. I think they'd be better located on Parsons. And right now we have a bit of a split business district. And the two almost compete with each other. And I don't think that the town has the population to support two separate business districts. I think the laundromat does fine here because people are coming specifically to do their laundry at a laundromat. There are other businesses that don't require regular foot traffic to actually do okay. To support those, like.
Thank you. Dennis, we're going to start with you on the next one, and it's a 2-minute question. What do you believe are the top 2 most pressing concerns to the business community of Pine Bluffs? And do you think there is a way the town could assist with the concerns, if there are any?
Okay, we're back to the 4 businesses to be here. When I try to hire help, there's nowhere to live. There is not attractive housing to encourage people to move to Pine Bluffs. I'm having to hire people out of Cheyenne. Commuting's expensive. It's a difficult thing to do. So to support the business, we really need to get the housing situation addressed in Pine Bluffs. And I think if we had more housing available that was affordable, I think we'd see the businesses doing better. We need to reach a critical mass where we have enough people to support the restaurants, the dollar stores, the grocery store. If we don't have enough people to even support a grocery store, we're in trouble. And we need to get the housing, get the people in here, grow the community even just a little bit to support the infrastructure.
Thank you. Dave?
Similarly, I'd say the top two pressing concerns would be cost of supplies and goods and a labor shortage. And again, to address the labor shortage, we have to have housing to do that. As far as cost of supplies, I'm not sure what the town can do to help businesses with that, than to try and create an environment that is more attractive for a business to come here and relocate or start here, or to grow here, either by finding startup funding, some additional resources to help grow the business. But again, it's going to have to be well thought out, and not just any business is going to do well here. So that'd be what I'd say.
Thank you. Josh?
I have to agree with both of them. I think one of our biggest issues is we have a labor shortage here, and kids, minimum wage. A lot of people can't live off minimum wage, depending on where you start here. Can you make a couple extra dollars by commuting to a different town? Absolutely. But I think that's one of the biggest issues is the housing market and labor shortage. And businesses in general. I know that a lot of businesses here have now hiring signs, but unfortunately the kids nowadays don't want to work. It's insane that I deal with this every day in my job in Cheyenne, finding the right people. And kids, it's commuting 45 miles one way for a job that's going to pay you $15 an hour. A lot of people aren't going to do that to commute to Cheyenne or commute here. It's one of the things that we're going to run into for a while until we have infrastructure all of our infrastructure in our housing market is up, that can provide for these people. So.
Great. Josh, we're going to start the next one with you. It's 2 minutes. How would you respond to an individual who is constantly at odds with your position and the decisions of the governing body?
I deal with this every day. Honestly, I kill them with kindness. I've learned over the years with people that are at odds with the position that you're in and the decisions of the governing body, it's not always about them. It is about the right thing to do. The big thing is if you do the right thing every time, people will start noticing that and will start understanding that maybe he or she has the best interest. But I'd kill him with kindness and make sure I'm doing the right thing at all time.
Dennis?
I think it's important that you would find out what their concerns actually are and have a healthy discussion with people. What is it that you're at odds with? What's the reason that you're upset, and try to, if sometimes there isn't always an easy answer to it, but I believe people want to be heard. They want to understand what's going on. And in most cases, people are reasonable. If you can have a good, healthy discussion with them and explain the circumstances or actually see where they're coming from and understand what they're trying to explain to you, that's helpful. I do this in business every day. I'm dealing with conflict on a constant basis there's always supply shortages or time constraints that need to be dealt with, and usually you just work through it.
Great, thank you. Dave?
Listen to really understand their position. I think a lot of times people are upset and they think they're voicing the issue, but maybe they just need to be heard. Maybe they just need to be respected, that their position is respected. Obviously try to explain my position again, clearly and concisely. And then, if possible, maybe work to find some compromise, if there is. And it would be easy to write a person like that off, but I think you need to commit to be open-minded in dealing with them in the future, because probably that's gonna happen. So, yeah, I think just listening to people, showing them that you respect them, and I think that goes a long way towards helping people feel like they're heard and understood.
Thank you. The next question's 2 minutes. Dave, we can start with you. What are your thoughts on the Recreation, Police, and Public Works departments? If elected, are you thinking of making any immediate changes, and why?
I think we have good public works, rec, and police departments right now. I don't see that there's any need to make any big changes in any of those departments. I think we have great employees. I think we have great administration. We already have great leadership from the council and from our mayor. I would not seek to make any changes, not any immediate ones at least.
Great. Josh?
I actually have to agree with Dave. I would not make any changes. I think we have the right people on the bus right now, all the way from the mayor down. I think the police department, we have the right people in the police department at the moment as well. And same with Public Works. So I would not make any changes.
Dennis?
Go ahead, would you repeat it again?
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the Recreation, Police, and Public Works departments? If elected, are you thinking of making any immediate changes, and why?
Okay, I think the recreation department does a great job. I think the police department's doing a good job. And I think that the public works are doing good work. I don't know that they're not otherwise, and so I don't believe there's anything to be addressed on any of those. And I think it would be premature to say I would make any immediate changes, not having the knowledge to make any good decision based on any changes. But at this point in time, from what I've seen, everyone's doing a good job, and we just need to support them in what they're doing.
Thank you. Okay, this is a 1-minute question. Dennis, we'll start with you. What expansion efforts, if any, do you support at the Pine Bluffs Municipal Airport?
Okay, I would support pretty much anything we can get, primarily because the majority of all of the money to the airport comes from the Federal Aviation Administration. The town matches 2% or something. And so I think that anything that we can do there that would help grow the community. I know that right now there's a lot of things happening at the airport that are looking really promising. I think Doug Wilson's doing a good job with the flight instruction. I know of some other things that are going on that I think are going to be good for the community. If we could get Jet A into the airport, the Air Force has committed to do a certain amount of fueling at the airport, and selling fuel at the airport's always been a good revenue source for the town. I'd really like to see the airport supported, and I would continue to support any effort to grow it or to promote the airport.
Thank you. Dave?
I think that the airport's already has some great amenities now. It's got a new hangar, a new office, a new hospitality area. We have a local mechanic and hopefully another one that will be starting soon. I understand that we're trying to get jet fuel station put in there as well. That I think would be a great option. The only thing I could think of beyond that right now would be maybe additional hangar space to attract people to store their planes here as well. But like Dennis, I would say anything that we could do to support the growth and expansion of the airport is going to only benefit Pine Bluffs, provided that we can find the funding to do that and it doesn't affect the residents of Pine Bluffs in any way adversely.
Great. Josh?
I would support any expansion effort, to be truthfully honest, because serving the military, you know, JP8 for the is what we ran in the diesel, and then jet fuel. It bringing some pretty decent revenue to the town of Pine Bluffs in general, and honestly, just see if it would grow.
Great, thank you. The next question is very lengthy, so I'll try and be very clear here. It's a 2-minute question. Dave, we'll start with you. Blighted and poorly maintained personal, rental, and business properties have many negative repercussions to a community. In addition to compromising public safety, they undermine the ability to maintain property values and the efforts of others to foster economic development opportunities. Are you concerned that these properties would make Pine Bluffs less attractive to families and businesses looking to relocate to our town? If so, what actions would you support to clean up these properties? For instance, would you support fines, penalties, etc.? Please explain.
Thank you for that question. Let's see if I got all that. So blighted properties. I know that this is something that the town has dealt with in the past and continues to deal with. I think it's important that we, as council members, are fluent in the town ordinances and that we make sure that the residents are aware of those ordinances as well as that's needed. And then communicate well with property owners that maybe need to clean up their property, find out what the issue is. If it's a financial issue, maybe we can find some ways to help get the property cleaned up. Perhaps the town could provide some materials and work with volunteer organizations to maybe help provide some labor. I know the church that I go to that we do a cleanup day for residents in need once a summer, so that might be something we could do. I probably would support fines and penalties if we have exhausted all other avenues. Not a big fan of it, but if that was the last resort and I felt like the property owner had the means to clean up their property, I probably would support that.
Great. Thank you. Josh?
I would support fines if everything was exhausted. I do know that there's a few houses that are an eyesore in our town, and one of them happened to actually be across the street from my house, and I know that they went around and, you know, the Warners went around and actually cleaned it up last summer, and there's a few more houses that are kind of an eyesore. So I do believe that it can affect our property values, and I do believe that you know, driving around, if that's the first thing you see when you drive into Pine Bluffs is a rundown house, and you kind of get a little bit of a negative vibe at first, but once you drive around and actually start meeting the people in the town, that could change the vibe around for that individual. So I would definitely support fines if it is the last, if we exhausted everything. And I do agree with, you know, maybe putting a volunteer organization together and volunteering and going around and trying to clean up some of these properties that are a little ran down or need some paint, that you know, take some donations and see who would come in and actually help.
Thank you. Dennis?
I definitely would like to see the town spruced up, see properties cleaned up. I would encourage people to work on their properties. I think that I would support fines, but it would have to be after extensive warning and sufficient time to actually work on the property. if the property were deemed uninhabitable, I think that I would support trying to get the property condemned so that it would be cleaned up. That being said, I'd like to see if there's government funding to help clean up blighted properties, because probably there is. And if the town could offer maybe demolition of properties that have been condemned. A blank lot is actually worth more than a rundown shack. And so maybe we could help people actually improve their property values and create the ability to put something attractive on the site that's blighted. And I think that's the direction that I would try to go with it, is let's try to encourage a mechanism for cleaning them up and actually improving people's property values, rather than taking we're gonna fine you if you don't clean up your property.
Thank you. Josh, 1 minute. Question. On June 1st, 2 new council members will take office. Do you believe members of the governing body should be a positive role model and a good example for the community?
Absolutely. I believe that anybody that is in a public office should be a role model and should be somebody that you could go to without a doubt, without a question. I live my motto. One of our mottos at work is right, which is respect, integrity, growth, humility, and teamwork. And I want to, if I was elected as town council, into the town council, I would expect that anybody in the town could be able to come up and talk to me and just tell me what's on their mind, and I'll be there to listen. I mean, so absolutely 100%. I think everybody that is up in a public view should be a good role model and have good values.
Thank you. Dennis?
Yeah, I believe that we should be role models for the people in the community. If I can't run my own life and have a respectable existence, do you really want me representing your town and trying to lead you if I can't lead my own life in a proper manner? So absolutely, I support putting people that are model citizens in leadership positions.
Thank you. Dave?
Yes, I do. I think that each one of us should strive to be a role model. I mean, that should be a goal that we each have. Having said that, I know that people that are maybe in the public eye maybe garner a little more scrutiny. So I think, yeah, we should strive to be honest and people of integrity and treat others with respect and conduct ourselves in a way when we think no one's looking that we would when we're in public. So absolutely.
Thank you. Dennis, 2 minutes. What is your vision of Pine Bluffs?
My vision of Pine Bluffs is an attractive little town with very low crime, nice schools, and a clean community that's an attractive place to live. And we have a lot of that now. We have a great little town. I love Pine Bluffs. It's got a lot going for it, and I think we can continue to nurture that and grow it. And my vision is to see a great little town that has grocery stores, has shops and amenities for people to do something, that has nice parks, something that creates an environment for families to have the American dream. And I think we're on the right track to do that.
Thank you. Dave?
I guess my vision would be a community that is clean, well-maintained, something that, a place that we can all be proud of, get a sense of community from, that we know our neighbors, that we care about our neighbors. Having said that, I think, having places to live, having things to do, are very key to us feeling good about where we live and where we go each day. So I think if we work together as a community, we can help instill even a greater sense of pride in that community than we already have.
Great. Josh?
I would like to see the town of Pine Bluffs grow and prosper. Keep growing and prospering. It's one of those things that, not being afraid to talk to your neighbor and knowing the people of this community and just keep growing. And it is like Dennis said, the American dream. I mean, that's the main reason why I moved here was the community and the education that this town gives our kids. I mean, my oldest daughter has 27 kids in her class here. She would have had 150 kids in her class in the town of Cheyenne. I moved here for that, for the education. And I want to see my kids grow in this town. I want to see my family grow in this town. So that is one of my visions for the town of Pine Bluffs, is to continue to watch the town grow and just prosper.
Thank you. We have a few minutes before our closing remarks. Does anyone from the audience have any questions that they would like to give to the candidates? We're going to open it up for public questions. Anyone at all? Going once, going twice. We have one. Yes, sir.
To all the candidates, what's your definition of a servant leader? And what role are you going to play in being that servant leader?
Let's start with Dennis.
I think a servant leader is someone that's put in a position of representation that you can approach, you can talk to them, you can get be engaged in a conversation with them, get feedback, and feel like you can trust that they have your best interest at heart. And that they're actually going to represent you in a meaningful way.
Thank you. Dave?
I would say that a servant leader is someone willing to roll up their sleeves and work, but also not expecting to get any congratulations for it or any recognition, but instead maybe work to lift up the people around them, to help support them and help them to be better versions of themselves and be the best that they can be. So that'd be my definition, I guess.
Josh?
My definition of a servant leader would be basically being a mentor and willing to teach, coach, motivate anybody at any time, and always doing the right thing no matter what, when it's behind closed doors or in the community, and just doing the right thing.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have a question? Okay, we're going to give each candidate 2 minutes for some closing remarks. Josh, we'll start with you.
My big thing is I just want to do the right thing, and if I was elected as a town council member, I want to get big in the community. I mean, I moved out here for education for my kids and to be closer to family. And some of you guys already know me through where I work, and they know that no matter what, I'm a stand-up person. And if I'm telling you I'm going to do something, I'll do it.
Thank you. Dennis?
I'd like to the reason I'm running for town council is that I want to I want to continue to grow the town into a very nice community. I'd like to see it continue to grow and continue to have good schools, good police department, make a very nice community for people to live in, good parks. And I feel like I have the responsibility to help nurture that environment. And that's my vision for the town, and that's what I'd like to promote, and that's why I'm running for town council.
Thank you. Dave, closing remarks.
I'd just like to thank you guys for being a part of this as well. I think probably one of the reasons why I decided to run was, like I said earlier, I just was concerned that I wanted to make sure we had good representation. I think it's very apparent that we have good representation here. Speaking of Dennis and Josh, I'm eager to serve. My wife and I are big into volunteer service, and I think that's something that I just would like to continue to do. This is my home. We've raised our family here. We live here. We don't plan to move, and I want to see the community continue to grow and develop, and I would like to be a part of that. You know, I know that we have some exciting things on tap with the development of the north property, especially. I would love to be a part of seeing how that develops, and it affects us all, and I'll do my very best to represent the community to the best of my abilities.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to say thank you to the candidates that were able to make it out and to give us some input. Thank you all for that. I want to thank Renee for being a great timekeeper, and Jackie and Kim for putting all this together. We appreciate you doing this for our community. This concludes our time of questioning, and there will be some time for you to mingle with the candidates right now. So there's some refreshments over here that have been provided. So
Josh, I don't think we've ever met.
Josh.
I'm Dennis Mincho.